Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for a deep dive into something really fascinating? We're going to dig into Bitcoin. And this is key, we're not just talking about like buying stuff online. This is about Bitcoin as this whole new way to think about freedom. Like, what does integrity really mean? And even, yeah, community.
It's a whole different way of looking at things.
It really is. And our guide for all of this, he's Robert Breedlove. And
Mm.
honestly, his ideas, they kind of blow your mind a little bit. Like, he's not messing around. He's talking about Bitcoin as this potential huge E shift, not just how we use money, but like the whole system.
Yeah, he makes you question some fundamental assumptions.
Totally. And get this, he even compares Bitcoin to, wait for it, the invention of the number zero.
Which, when you first hear, it's like, what?
Right. Sounds crazy. But I gotta say, by the end of this, it'll click. Promise. But okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with where Breedlove's coming from. His whole take on the world as it is now. And he's concerned, right? This idea of centralized control, it's like this thing looming over everything. And who gets caught in the middle? The average person, right? It's like the system is, I don't know, kind of rigged. Think about it. Ever feel like your paycheck, it just vanishes? Like where to go?
Inflation's a sneaky beast.
Tell me about it. Or how about this? The news, everything you read, it's like, are we even getting the full story anymore? Or just what they want us to hear?
That's that centralized control creeping in.
Exactly. And Breedlove, he's pointing right at that. The big institutions, all the power, and it's eroding, like chipping away at our freedom bit by bit.
Yeah.
And this is where Bitcoin, it's like, boom, enters the scene. He's saying it's an antidote, not just, oh, cool, digital money.
Yeah.
This is different. See, unlike the cash in your pocket, which, let's be honest, they can print forever.
It's true, unfortunately.
Bitcoin's got this hard limit, 21 million, that's it, no more, ever.
And that changes everything.
I was like, whoa, the rules just changed completely, right? And this whole thing about Bitcoin being like resistant to manipulation, that's not just about money, is it?
Not at all. It goes way deeper. It's baked into the whole way it's built, this idea of decentralization. There's no one in charge, no single point of failure.
Right, right. So no central bank, no government calling the shots. And that's got some pretty huge implications. But how does that actually play out in real life? Like, what does that even look like?
Well, Breedlove uses this term citadels. Essentially, he's talking about communities, sometimes even physical places, that are taking this idea of decentralization and actually living it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these citadels. What's the big idea?
It's about creating these pockets of self-sufficiency, independence from those big systems, the ones we were just talking about.
So like opting out, building something new instead.
Exactly. And it's not just some fringe idea either. Breedlove points to this incredible example, an off-grid farm in Georgia. They're doing it. Growing their own food, generating their own power, completely self-sustaining.
Wow, that's wild. Like something out of a movie. So they're completely off the grid then. How do they even...
It's pretty amazing, right? They've embraced this whole ethos of sustainability, resilience. It's not just about Bitcoin. It's bigger than that. It's about aligning your actions with your values, walking the walk, so to speak.
I love that. And speaking of walking the walk, this is where I think things get really interesting with Bitcoin. It's not just about this alternative currency. It's about this built-in integrity.
Yeah, it's like this radical transparency, right?
Yeah.
Everything's out in the open.
Exactly. Every single transaction ever, it's all recorded on this thing called the blockchain, right?
Exactly, and it's all verifiable, like a public ledger, but for the entire world.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And nobody can mess with it. No altering the books, no shady backroom deals. It's like, finally, if you say you're about transparency and accountability, well, here's the framework to actually make it happen.
And it all goes back to that decentralization. That's
Yeah.
what makes it so secure, so tamper-proof. It's spread across a network of computers all over the world. No single point of failure.
It's like elegant and revolutionary all at the same time, Which, weirdly enough, brings us back to that comparison we touched on earlier. This might seem like a stretch, but Bitcoin and the number zero. Breedlove, he actually connects those two things.
Yes, it's a bold comparison for sure.
It seems crazy at first, but he's saying they're both revolutionary in their own way, right? Zero, it completely changed how we think about math. It opened up all these possibilities. And Bitcoin, he's arguing, has that same kind of potential, but for how we organize ourselves as a society.
It's a fascinating way to look at it, for sure. Zero wasn't just another digit. It fundamentally changed the game. And Bitcoin, it's not just a new kind of money. It's a whole new way of thinking about power, control, trust.
It's like this whole other way of thinking about, like, the very fabric of how things work.
It really is. And it's exciting. It's like, wait, what if we don't have to do things the way they've always been done? What if there's a better way?
That's what's so cool about all this is like this door swinging open and suddenly you see all these possibilities, these alternatives. It's like, whoa, we could actually build something different.
And that's what those citadels represent, right? Is people taking these ideas and putting them into practice, experimenting, seeing what works.
Yeah. It's like they're out there on the frontier, testing the limits, showing us what's possible. But, and I think this is important. It's not about just rejecting the old systems blindly, right? It's about being thoughtful, intentional about what we build in its place.
Exactly. It's about values. What do we actually care about? What kind of world do we want to live in?
Right. Because technology, it's just a tool, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like Bitcoin, blockchain, all of it. It's how we use it that matters.
It's about understanding those tools for sure, but it's also about understanding ourselves, what we believe in, and then
Taking action.
aligning our actions with our beliefs. That's what it all comes down to.
It does. And maybe Bitcoin, this whole world it's opening up, maybe it's a catalyst for that. Whoa, I like that. A catalyst for change, for aligning who we are with what we do.
Exactly. So as you're thinking about all this, here's a question to chew on. If you could build a citadel, your own little corner of this new world, what would it look like? What values would it be built on?
Ooh, that's a good one. What would your citadel be? Keep thinking about it, everyone. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deeper.